Hello, welcome to my class. I'm Pamela Jasmine. Today I'm going to teach a poem, 9 Gold Medals, written by David Roth. This poem is in the form of a story. This poem is about a sport event named Special Olympics arranged for differently abled. So in this poem, the poet describes human values, the importance of sharing and caring in human lives rather than just winning and achieving. Let's see the poem. The athletes had come from so many countries to run for the gold, for the silver and bronze. Many weeks and months in training, all building up to the games. The athletes had come from different countries, many countries, to run for the gold, for the silver and bronze. See, the athletes had come from different countries to run for the gold medal, silver medal and the bronze medal. That means they had come from different countries to win the event. Many weeks and months in training, all building up to the games. They had spent many weeks and months in training. They took a very hard training, all building up to the games. All the athletes were trained to win the game. All on the field, spectators were gathered, cheering on all the young women and men. Then the final event of the day was approaching, the last race about to begin. All on the field, spectators were gathered. So many spectators were there around the field, cheering on all the young women and men. They were cheering, the spectators, audience. They were cheering the men and women who were participating in different events. Then the final event of the day was approaching, the last race about to begin. Then it was time for the final event. The last race was about to begin. The loudspeakers called out the names of the runners, the 100 meters, the race to be run. And 9 young athletes stood there determined and poised for the sound of the gun. Their names, the participants' names were announced in the loudspeakers. The 100 meters, the race to be run. The event was 100 meters run. So that means the sprint. That is the most important event of the Olympics, the Special Olympics or all the Olympics. See, that event only decides the fastest runner. So it was about to begin. And 9 young athletes stood there determined and poised for the sound of the gun. 9 combatants were there. 9 athletes were there. They were so determined. They all have decided that they will win the race. Each and every athlete had decided that he would win the game. And poised for the sound of the gun. Then they were waiting. They were self-assured. I will win the race. Like that, they were waiting for the sound of the gun. The signal was given, the pistol exploded, and so did the runners on hearing the sound. But the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, and he fell on his knees to the ground. It was time for the event. It was time for the 100 meters race. The signal was given. First of all, the signal will be given. And when the signal is right, then the gun will explode. So the pistol exploded. And so did the runners on hearing the sound. Then the runners started. When they heard the explosion of the gun, they all started. But the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, and he fell on his knees to the ground. Then what happened? The youngest among these 9 athletes stumbled. His foot hit somewhere, and he staggered. Staggered means he's moving unsteadily. He started moving unsteadily and he fell on his knees to the ground. Then he fell on the ground on his knees. He was not able to run forward. He stumbled and he fell down. He gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. But as sure as I'm standing here telling the story, now it's a strange one, but here is what occurred. Then what happened? He gave out a cry of frustration. He was so frustrated because he was well trained. He had been trained for so many months and weeks and all. But finally, when the gun exploded and when he started running, he stumbled and fell. He was so frustrated and he cried out in extreme suffering, extreme pain. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. He was dreaming to win the race. His dreams dashed in the dirt. His dreams flew away. All his dreams were destroyed because he fell down. But as sure as I'm standing here telling the story, but one thing, the author is telling something, it is true. As he was standing there, as sure it was, he was telling the truth. He was standing there and he was a witness. He saw everything what had happened. How he was standing there, it was a truth. Like that, something special had happened. Now it's a strange one, but here is what occurred. It is a special thing happened there, but that's what occurred there. The 8 other athletes stopped in their tracks, the ones who had trained for so long to compete. One by one, they turned round and came back to help him and lifted the lad to his feet. Such a beautiful occurrence. See, the 8 other athletes stopped in their tracks. All the others, when one fell down, all the other 8 athletes stopped in their tracks. The ones who had trained for so long to compete, they all were trained to win the race. They had trained for so long to compete and win the race. One by one, they turned round and came back to help him and lifted the lad to his feet. What they did, one by one, turned round and came back to help him. They all came together and they lifted the lad to his feet. The boy who fell down, they all lifted him to his feet. Then all 9 runners joined hands and continued the 100 meters reduced to a walk. And the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been never the mark. Then all the 9 runners joined hand and continued. They all hold their hands and they continued the 100 meters reduced to a walk. What they did? One could not run. So they all came back and they lifted him and they all hold their hands and they walked to the finishing point. So the race had reduced to a walk. And the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark. Then there was a banner. It was Special Olympics. It was a Special Olympics. It was why it was special? Because it was the Olympics organized for the differently abled. So this Olympics became special because of their special behavior, because of their love and concern for each other. So it became so special. So, and the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark. It could not have been nearer the mark if they could not have behaved like this. So they behaved in a unique manner and made the event a special one. And the name Special Olympics became appropriate because of their unique action. That's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still. And the banner above and 9 smiling faces said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will. That's how the race ended. The race ended in a special way with 9 gold medals. all became winners. See, all the 9 participants got gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still. They came to the finishing point holding their hands. They were in one line. No, see, one is not ahead or one is not behind. So everyone came together to the finishing point. And the banner above and 9 smiling faces. And there was a banner. What was the banner? Special Olympics. And the 9 smiling faces. All the participants were so happy because all were winning. All were winning gold medals. Said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will. Then only these words, Special Olympics, got the real meaning when because of their action, because of their behavior. That means they all have the real sporting spirit in them. They all wanted to participate and they all wanted, there was no jealousy, there was no competition, they all wanted to win. Because of their special action, this name, that Special Olympics, became meaningful. Theme of the poem: celebration of human values. The poem celebrates human values pertaining to kindness, cooperation, and empathy. The 9 runners were participating in Special Olympics to achieve their dreams. But when one fell, they did not want to hurt him, and they were selfless. They helped the fallen one and they could win the medal. They stood by each other and walked together to the finishing line, and all of them won a gold medal. By awarding gold medals to each one of them, the authorities honored their display of empathy and human values. True sportsmanship. Sportsmanship implies that a sport or activity should be enjoyed for its own sake without any enmity and considering for fairness, respect, and a sense of fellowship with one's competitors. David Roth indicates how human values in a sports person are as important as the spirit of competition. It's very important. Here we can see human values. Even though they are disabled, they have that values and they respect each other. So they could win. All of them could win the medal. All of them crossed the finishing line together and won a gold medal each for their compassion for a fellow competitor. Appropriateness of title. 9 gold medals is the title of the poem. It is really appropriate for the poem because all the 9 combatants won medals. So they all together, there were 9 competitors and all the 9 won gold medals. That's why the name of the poem is appropriate. Narrative technique. The poem is much more like a story that is being narrated. It is narrated in the form of a song. And the narrator gives us an account of a race organized in the Special Olympics. That was really special. Structure. The poem has 8 stanzas. All the 7 stanzas are of 4 lines, but the last stanza has 5 lines. That the fourth line is repeated to stress the importance of the event or the name of the event. And it does not have any special rhyme scheme, but it has a special rhythm. Now, alliteration. The poetic device used is alliteration. We can see his dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. D is repeated. Dreams, dashed, and dirt. Then stumbled and staggered. S is repeated. So, alliteration. Then climax. Climax of the poem is that they won. All of them won 9 gold medals. And that that action, that special behavior of the athletes made the event very special. That's the climax of the poem. That's all. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. God bless.